somewhat like a successful life, and at least on the outside, my faith to God that I think I survived it all.
And you had a wife who was understanding. Welcome, Keith. Great to have you here.
Well, thank you very much, Grace. It certainly is my pleasure to be here today.
You're welcome, and it's good to have you here as well. So, kindly tell us a bit about yourself and about your time in the Marine Corps and the experiences in Vietnam that shaped you.
Well, first off, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm the husband of Lily Cole, and I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran and a retired CPA who thought, especially after the Marine Corps, that all I needed was to be tough. And so for many years, I lived, actually decades, I lived and looked somewhat like a successful life, and at least on the outside. But then I was carrying this heavy inner exhaustion and unresolved trauma. And so, which came, of course, from the combat experience, but also just the daily life and being an entrepreneur and having my own tax practice. And eventually that pressure just caught up with me, and it led me to what I saw as a severe burnout. And my journey through that experience and how God led me to recovery is what led me to write the book, Burnout, God's Recovery Plan.
That's amazing, because you rely solely on God, on faith, to help you navigate the journey of mental, possibly physical exhaustion because you experienced burnouts.
It was absolutely reconnecting my faith to God that I think I survived it all. As a Marine Corps machine gunner in Vietnam, the combat was intense, and I was one of the people there who grew up very fast from a teenager. In those moments, you're focused constantly on survival and eliminating any threat that's around you. Besides in the combat of the chaos, artillery fire and death surrounded by it. I think the big thing too was I was wounded 3 times, 3 different occasions. That was always, a struggle as well. It became quite a burden that I've carried ever since. I think that when I came home from Vietnam and then back into civilian life, like many other veterans, I tried to move forward, to build a life, and then I became a CPA, certified public accountant.
Okay.
And then I started my own practice. But some of the things that I experienced in combat didn't simply just disappear. There was trauma that just was always there. Actually, many things like that, and they just stayed buried beneath the surface, and they slowly affected my sleep, my patience, my emotion, and definitely my relationship.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because most people don't always know that the trauma of war can be very damaging if not treated well, if not adhered to, in terms of prayers, in terms of therapy or psychological help. Like you rightly said, it does affect relationships if care is not taken. So I'm happy that you were able to find solace with God's word, with God, and you had a wife who was understanding, who was able to say, I hear you, I see you, I'm here to support you. Thank you so much for that. How did your combat experiences impact you emotionally and mentally once you returned home? I know you said that it impacted on your relationships. Were there other things it impacted?
I don't believe the trauma, for me, it didn't always look dramatic. It wasn't always a flare, but more like it was a constant pressure, irritability, just emotional exhaustion, and never really feeling any peace. And in my case, it showed up in long hours. It was not uncommon for me to work 12 hours a day or more, overnight at times. I was a tax accountant, so it's times of the year which were extremely busy, and I thought I had to do everything. It's sleepless nights, and I was always pushing forward without really addressing what was happening on the inside.
Be safe and be positive. And don't forget to check out our social media handles. Thank you. Bye for now.